It was theorized early on that Native Americans must have entered the New World across the narrow strip of water known today as the Bering Strait. This would mean that instead of Israelites traveling more than 8,500 miles of ocean, Asians would have only had to cross a little more than 50 miles to reach the Americas.
And in general, the toolkits that were being used in the New World fit what was coming out of Asia at about the same time.
What is most significant about the genetic research and its applicability to the Book of Mormon is that it validates what we already knew from other scientific disciplines. From biological anthropology more generally, we knew a long time ago that American Indians resembled Asians, and particularly the people from the regions around Mongolia and Siberia, more than they did any other peoples. Archaeologically, we knew that there was similarity between the cultures of Northeast Asia and those of the early Americans, that is, in the types of artifacts they used and left behind. We also knew, based upon linguistic evidence, that American Indians shared a common ancestry with at least some of the Northeast Asians and the Siberians. So we had all of this other evidence from scientific disciplines as diverse as linguistics and archaeology and human biology, all showing us an Asian origin of American Indians. Now the genetic data confirms what we already knew from that other material.
Yes, the genetic data is certainly in agreement with other kinds of biological information as well as archaeology and linguistics in placing the origin, the ultimate geographic origins of the native populations of the Americas in Asia.
There is a comprehensive, widespread consensus among anthropologists today from all subdisciplines of anthropology that the homeland of Native Americans is East Asia.
There is a scientific consensus that the original peoples that came to the Americas came from Asia.
Now, DNA fingerprinting is analogous to fingerprinting leaving your fingerprints. It's a very hard science, really, when it comes down to it. It's being able to really answer very clearly what's happened, and that is that the American Indian is, at least their DNA, comes from Asia. It's an Asian DNA, not an Israelite DNA.
We've got a problem. The Mormon scholars can pretend like this evidence doesn't exist, which I think is dishonest. We can confront it, and we can challenge it. I don't think that we would be successful in challenging the data. In fact, I don't know of any Mormon scientists that are challenging the findings of geneticists. What we have been doing is wrestling with our own conceptions of the Book of Mormon. That is, most Mormon scholars who've commented on the subject, including myself, agree that the American Indians could not possibly be the descendants of the Lamanites. That is, the American Indians as a whole. That is genetically impossible. It's also archaeologically impossible. It's also historically and linguistically impossible.
This DNA evidence had been firmly established and widely published long before the 2002 Winter Olympics focused the world's attention on Utah and, to a certain extent, on the Mormon Church. The foreign press was given a rare opportunity to interview the leader of Utah's dominant religion. Gordon B. Hinckley is the current president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and is believed by his followers to be a modern-day living prophet. It was in just such an interview that in January 2002, a German reporter asked President Hinckley about the DNA evidence facing his religion.
What will be your position when DNA analysis will show that in the history never had been an immigration from Israel to North America? It could be that the scientists will find it out.
It hasn't happened. That hasn't been determined yet. All I can say is that's speculative. No one really knows that, the answer to that, not at this point.
Well, of course he's wrong. First of all, he's factually wrong. I mean, it's been fairly well shown. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. And by that time, there were a lot of papers written on it. I would find it very incredible to know that he wasn't familiar with it.
One of the frustrating things for me as a Mormon scholar is the general Mormon approach to problems with the Book of Mormon, and that is, more often than not, to pretend like they don't exist. I would like to see us confront them honestly, openly, and publicly. I find myself frustrated when we pretend like the problems are not there.